He shaved 25 minutes off of his time to qualify for Boston in 2:48:43. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Runwave podcast. I am your host, Kim. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to the show. If you are a return listener, welcome back to the show, and thank you again for tuning in week after week. If you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe to the Runwave on your favorite podcast app so that you'll be notified each and every time I upload a new episode and you don't miss any Runwave news. If you haven't had the chance to do so, make sure you check out the Runwave merch. We have hoodies, t-shirts, all available for sale. And if you purchase merch from the show, you are supporting the continuation of the Runwave podcast. Simply visit therunwave.com/shop to purchase your merch now. On the show, I am chatting with Tommie. He is a runner out of Detroit. If you listened to the Run Crew series a couple months ago, he is a member of the crew We Run 313, and he set a goal to qualify for the Boson Marathon with a time of 2 hours and 50 minutes, and he crushed that goal. He trained hard for 12 weeks straight. He ran, I think, over 700 miles during that training cycle, which is crazy. And he did his thing at this marathon. So he tells me all about his training cycle, his experience. He has a clothing line, Chip Time Running. The shirt that I'm wearing right now, Runtrepreneur, is from his clothing line. So make sure you go to his website, chiptimerunning.com, to support his brand. And let's get into his story right now. All right. Please welcome to the show, Tommie, owner of Chip Time Running. He has the Eat, Sleep, Repeat show on Instagram, and it's also a podcast. Welcome to the show, Tommie.
Thank you. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm a very happy guy right now. I've been waiting so long to be on the Runwave show. So I'm finally here, and now I get to tell my friends that I did it. I made it, for sure.
Yes. You made it before the Runwave podcast, trust me. So how's it going there in Michigan?
It's going pretty good. I mean, it's nice. Well, not nice. It's gloomy outside. It's raining. Yesterday, a couple of days ago, it was 80 degrees. I'm sure tomorrow it'll be 30. But that's just how it is in Michigan. And, we're used to it. We train, we run in it, all that stuff. So it's all good. It's probably pretty close to like what it is where you are too, right?
No, because wasn't it like snowing there a couple days ago?
Okay,
I know I saw a video and y'all were group running and it was like snow coming down. Like, what season are they in?
Yeah, we don't even know. Last Tuesday it snowed. And yeah, we don't know what season we're in. We don't even know if we're part of the same country. It's just a thing. Michigan weather does whatever it wants to.
I can see that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to have you on the show because you had a record-breaking run this past weekend.
Yeah.
But before we get into that run, I want the audience to get to know you a little bit better. So Where are you originally from?
Well, originally from to cut off. I'm originally from New York. I was born in New York, but I was only there for a short period of time. It's like from birth to 5 years old. Moved to Detroit area, actually in Detroit, and lived in the Detroit area between 5 to basically 20-something, 23 years old. So I mean, when people say where I'm from, I say here. I mean, because it would be weird to say I'm from Poughkeepsie, New York, because I've only been there that was a long time ago. So I'm raised here, so I'm a Detroiter for sure.
I was going to ask you what part of New York, and I just knew you were going to say one of the boroughs, but Poughkeepsie doesn't even count. So if people ask you where you're from, don't even say New York.
Yeah. That's why, I did that.
People don't even know what Poughkeepsie is.
Right, I did that a couple times. I would say oh, I was born in New York. They like, where? And I'm like, Poughkeepsie. They're like, I don't even. What are we doing? How far is that from where I know?
Yeah, that's like Metro North territory, and we don't get on the Metro North much anymore
Yeah.
here.
So yeah, no,
So are
I'll
you
stick
in
with
like
Detroit.
Detroit proper, or are you like in the suburbs?
No, I'm in the suburbs now. When coming up, I was kind of back and forth between Detroit and Southfield, which is like just the immediate suburb, like right on the other side of 8 Mile, if that helps. Um,
I only know
kind
about
of.
8 Mile from
Because
Eminem.
the movie, yeah. People will be like, "Oh, yeah, are you from the 8 Mile?" Like it's like a thing, like it's an area. But I mean, so yeah, I grew up in the suburbs, family on both sides, and so I really attached to the Detroit culture, the vibe, and so as soon as I was able to get a chance to run in the city, and the city's has had a great revitalization lately, so it's just been really cool to watch, and we've been running in it and around it and all that stuff. So it's been pretty excellent to be a runner at this time in the Detroit area.
So you're a member of the run crew. We run 313. I
Yeah.
had them on the show a couple of months ago. How did you link up with those guys?
So and I was training for the 2019 Detroit Free Press. That was my first marathon, and I saw a picture or of something like on Instagram that had like 200 young black people in a picture, and I'm like, what is this? Like, I have to be a part of this. I have to go check it out. Went out like the next Tuesday to their 2 Mile Tuesday run, and again it was like 200 people. Great vibes, great people, and I just ever since that moment, I think I ran and ended up running with Joe that day, and he's like, "Yo, you should come out more often. Like, come out to the long run." So I'm like, long runs are like my area, my thing. So I showed up on a Sunday, and ever since then we just been training together and running together, and we just been pretty good friends in the last couple of years.
I was looking at the 2 Mile Tuesday from this week, and
Yeah.
it looked like a couple hundred people were there.
Yeah. Yesterday what's today, Thursday. Yeah, so the other day it was quite a lot of people. I think it was actually more people than like the relaunch day. And I think just as the weather gets better, the word spreads around more and more that they're back running through for the season. It'll just get bigger and bigger. So it's really incredible to see so many people come out, and the types of people, the types of runners that come out. I mean, you have people that come out there with strollers, that just want to, just have a reason to get out there and see what happens and see their body change over the summer. And then also you have people that are, more serious and just, ripping through that first mile or so. And it's just a wide range. So there really is someone for everybody. And that's why I liked about it when I first went, because it was a great vibe and a great, a group of black folks, but I had somebody to relate to, but then I also didn't feel bad for leaving like that one person, you know what I'm saying? So it's just a wide range, and I think that they struck gold with that because everyone feels welcome.
So you're wearing a Chip Time Running. What is that? A crew? Oh, that's a T-shirt.
Yeah,
Okay,
just a
okay. I had
t-shirt.
to see
Yeah,
your
yeah,
arm.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah,
You got
sorry. Yeah, show the
the
arm in
Chip
there.
Time Running T-shirt.
My
I'm
body thinks
wearing.
it's summer.
Yes, I'm wearing the Entrepreneur
Yeah.
Crew hoodie, which is so. This is the first time I put it on.
Oh, is it?
Soft.
I see.
Yeah.
You should have been put the thing on.
I know. I don't go anywhere, so
Yeah.
there's nowhere to wear clothes nowadays. But
Right.
tell me about Chip Time Running. What made you want to start this company?
Well, I started Chip Time Running in May of 2020, and it was a culmination of like a couple things just coming together at the right time. It was the idea of having the Run, Eat, Sleep, Repeat shirt was kind of a while before that, but when COVID hit, and it hadn't really affected like my day job at that point yet, but it was just you started seeing so many things in the world changing, and so many people at risk of losing jobs, being laid off, being furloughed, all that stuff. It just made me think like, yo, like how stable is all this really, and if it was to the ship was to sink, why is it not my ship? Like I'd rather be the captain on this ship, but then at the same time, the resurgence of Black Lives Matter and George Floyd and so many names that look like me, and look like my family members was just so much. So it was like the pandemic having me kind of in a weird spot of thinking like, what can I do for myself? But then also all of a sudden it's like, yo, like I'm super proud to be black, and I want my kids to not only be safe out there and be proud to be black, but I want them to look at me as like, hey, this is someone that's doing something for us. Like I work every day for my family too, but I can't leave my job, my director of business development. I can't leave that job to my kids. I can't pass this to my son or my daughter. So I wanted to, at that moment, take a risk. Everyone around me is worried about, their job and their security and, safety when they leave the house. It's like, yo, we need to do something so that my family can look at this thing and say, this is ours, and I didn't know where it was going to go, but I just said, I need to take a chance and show my kids that sense of ownership can change the dynamic in a family, the community, and, in just so many different ways.
Mm-hmm. So it started with a run, eat, sleep, teas, tinks, etc.
Yeah.
Did the show come after the apparel
so
company?
So the clothing line started in May, and we just started with shirts. It just had the red bar, run, eat, sleep, repeat across the front, and that's like just the concept of a runner's lifestyle, and then Chip Time Running, just to kind of go back, the reason why I picked that name is because how we all rely on that chip time when all these in-person races start back up, we'll be worried about what our chip time is, and how do you get your chip time down? And it's to live a runner's life: run, eat, sleep, repeat. And so that worked out. And then next thing you know, I did a couple weeks of a run, eat, sleep week, which I asked people to say, hey, run a mile, jog a mile, whatever it is, and post it on Instagram for 7 days straight. Post it on Instagram, say that you ran your mile or you jogged or whatever. Then also during that day, during these 7 days, eat a healthy meal, and maybe vegan, maybe vegetarian, something that's just a little different than what you normally would. Post a picture, because we all know we love food pictures, and then get sleep, 6 to 8 hours of sleep every night. Like set your alarm, like screenshot it or something, something to get like that a runner's life vibe kind of going, and saying like, hey, it's deeper than just running. We need to make sure that we are healthy across the board, And I just saw that so many people had trouble with the eating part of it. Like they could go walk and jog and all that. I thought the jogging and the walking and the running part was going to be a problem. But then you got people posting pictures of water, a carrot, and like applesauce. You know what I'm saying?
No
or
real
like,
fuel.
Yeah, it was just like a banana, and like that's your lunch, bro. Like you couldn't think of anything else, And then surprisingly too is like, hey, yep, I got 4.5 hours. I'm doing better. And I'm like, we just doing this for 7 days, and you just could see people were trying, and it just showed me like how each one of these things help each other, but then how much people neglect the eat and sleep part, And then I was like, it'd be dope if we started a show, or I started a show to talk to people about each thing, each segment, talk to a runner, talk to a dietitian and all that stuff, and then talk to, like a sleep therapist, or on the running side, a recovery, like fitness, physical therapy, and talking about some of these things and how we can just be healthier, stronger, faster runners, And that's how the show came about. And then it kind of morphed into this other thing where now I'm interviewing professional runners and things like that. So it's turned out to be
I
pretty...
know. I'm like, I've been seeing your last few shows. I'm like, where is he finding these people? Like, what are you doing?
I don't know.
Are you DMing them? Are they contacting you? Like, how are you getting...
It's been like, at first it was just DM. Like, I'm trying to be slick with it, say something that's, captivating, But it's just been right place, right time, I guess. And then some of the guests I've had have been through agents and different things like that. But I just think that the vibe of the show, and because that's why I like your show as well. I mean, it's a running show, but it's not like, yo, what's your VO2 max, bro? Like, what's your workout gonna be today? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, that's definitely I like that because I'm a run nerd. So like, I want to hear all that. But then at the same time, like, how can someone listen to me interview, Diana Curie, who's a 2-time Olympian? How can someone that runs a 12-minute mile relate to her? And if I go at it the normal traditional like run show way, it's going to be way over something, they're like, I'm cool. Like, you know, good for her. She's fast, whatever. But if I can talk to her on a personal level and talk about how running has helped her, how she works through the hard times, how she stays motivated, you know, these people are human, like as ever,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they think and feel like a lot of the same things that we do. And if I can refer to what something she said during a race, during my 5K or my whatever, that's dope.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the goal. And I think that maybe some of the people are seeing the vibe of the show and saying like, yeah, that's cool. I'll come on, you know?
Yeah, and I like that because it's more relatable that way. Because like me, I look at my Garmin and I look at time, pace,
Yeah.
and I know what a start and stop button is. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like all this other stuff you like, yeah, it's just there, you know?
I don't go into Garmin afterwards and look at my what is it called, the cadence and all that other
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
That's
I'm into all that, but I know that like if I couldn't sit and listen to a show like that over and over for an hour, you know,
hmm
and um I feel like some people, like the funny part about the Garmin thing, like I just start, stop, go. It's like them. Maybe I'm aging myself or whatever, but you know the TI-83 calculators or whatever
I
back in
had
the
one
day.
of those.
Like
So
I don't know how.
we're in the same age bracket then.
Yeah, yeah. It was like you know I knew how to do the stuff that I needed to know how to do, but then you got those all those other buttons. I don't even know if people really know what those buttons are for. There's
No,
nobody that knows how to use that all the way through.
I knew how to save formulas in it. I knew how to do that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we knew how to put games on them. Remember, like you could
Yes.
put a game on it. You'd be sitting there, your teacher swear that
Yes.
you whiz kid, but you in there
hmm
playing like Snake or whatever. It was
hmm
wild, wild.
Listen, my son has one now. It's not all big like it used to be when we had it. It's like,
Yeah,
quarter of that size, but it's crazy the evolution of
yeah.
life.
Technology, right? It's crazy.
So the you did a show on Instagram
Hmm.
live.
Yeah.
How was that like the first time? Like I think I've only done live, like I've done your show and I've
Hmm.
done like I think one other Instagram live and that's like it.
It's kind of crazy. Like, um, it's weird because it's live and the trouble with it is like reception, you know, or like
Mhm.
internet connection. Because you get
Mhm.
those moments when you ask a question, you're smiling, and then they freeze, and you're just sitting
And
there
they're
like,
frozen.
and you don't know what to do. You don't know how to
mhm.
you don't know whether you should keep
Mhm.
talking. And a lot of times, like you find out later that everybody else saw like no pause, no freeze, and so like if
Mhm.
you, it's weird. But I think it's really fun though because not often do you know it's we've all seen, you know, I haven't interviewed Des Linden yet, but we've all seen Des Linden be interviewed, you know. But
Mhm.
it's because of the pandemic and people having to find ways around the traditional podcast thing.
Mhm.
You're starting to see more live shows and stuff like that, and it's better because unless you turn the comments off, people can really communicate, ask questions, and as long as they're like on topic, like I'll throw them in there and ask because a lot of questions that you may have I might want to know too. So
Mhm.
we're asking questions, and it's live. The live aspect makes it really fun. It's tough to do, but I think a lot of people like it. I've only had a couple people say like, "Hey, Can you turn the comments off?" Um, but I mean, comments can get weird though because like then you see like you're asking a question and you see your guest like reading the comment, which is
Mhm.
wild. You're like, "Hey, hey, hey, chill out. I got that."
Mhm.
But it's fun, and I encourage everybody to check it out because more people that watch, the better, obviously, because it makes the guests want to come on. You know what I'm saying? So check it out.
And you push that over to a podcast platform as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. All podcast platforms that wherever you find your podcast, it's there. It's there. So it's the Run Eat Sleep Show.
Yeah, I commend you because I know I said that for my other podcast. We were like, yeah, we're going to go live once a
Hmm.
month. And
Hmm.
we never did it. Not once.
Man, you talking about that? You talking about that other show?
The other show where we say the curse words.
The other show,
Yeah.
man. That would be lit live though. Like you might as well try it out
I
because
know. Maybe we will. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
Live
don't
just
don't
scares
don't
me a little
don't go
bit.
through. Yeah, don't go with my advice because I want to see it because I think it'd be crazy. But then you got this thing going too, so you might. I don't know what you're gonna
Listen,
do.
that show, we try to keep it at a little over an hour, but we record for like 3 hours. Like the
Oh, really?
live will be crazy.
Yeah, I mean the lives are open now till it's like 4 hours. It's like 3 or 4 hours or something like that. I don't think people do it. I guess, but not me.
Yeah, y'all might not want to see all of that.
Hey, I guarantee you'll probably be lit. People be watching like crazy.
So everyone knows who you are. We know what you do. I want to get into this. Wait, I wrote your time down. 2:48:43 at
Yeah.
the Glass City Marathon.
Yep.
Now, you know I athlinked you, right?
Did you?
I made that up. Athlinked. It's like Google.
Athl- well,
Athlinked.
it's Google Athlinks. I
I
think that's a
athlinked
thing.
you. And
I
there's
like
only
it.
one Thomas Bailey in Michigan, but I don't think that's you.
What does it say? What they
Have you
it put?
claimed your athlink profile?
Yeah. It
He
it
has
could be
on like pants, and he has. I don't think it's you because he has
no.
on a. Remember when we used to put our phones in the
That's
case and all?
me. That's me. I gotta change. Oh, that's embarrassing. I gotta change my
What was that when you first started running?
yeah. Well, I had on like I had on black, right? And I had
I'm
on
gonna
a
need you to
thing.
change that picture,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
I'm like, is
Okay.
this him?
Yeah, it's me. That's me. Yeah, so
Now,
that was probably like year one.
I have an old marathon picture on there as well, but people can tell it's me. You know, I
Yeah,
have the
nah.
medal. It's me. I'm gonna need you to go
Yeah.
in there and
I
change
got
that
some
picture.
I got some new pictures that's kind of fire. That represent who I am right now. So I'll go
But
back and
look,
change it.
I was thinking that Glass City was your first marathon because there's no marathons on your athlete's profile.
It's okay, maybe that's not me. Because the Detroit Free Press is on. So I ran Detroit Free Press in 2019. And so Glass City is my second. In my first marathon, I ran 3:13:30, and then the other day I ran 2:48:43.
So 3:13. What is that? 25-minute difference?
20, yeah, almost
I'm not
25
great
minutes.
with math.
Yeah, almost
25
25 minutes.
minutes.
I had to. I'm not good with math either, so I wrote it down, and then we sat and talked about it and figured out you don't carry the one, you get rid of the one for sure.
Now, I didn't watch your live. I jumped in yesterday. It was last night,
Oh
right?
yeah,
When you were
yeah,
on with the
yeah,
guys. I
yeah.
jumped in for a little while, but I jumped out because I'm like, I want him to tell me this story. And I
Okay.
didn't read your post either. I saw the
Oh
first one
yeah,
that you put up, but I
yeah.
didn't
You
want to
don't
read
want
the
to
post
You don't want
because
to
I
read
didn't want to
that
know what
post.
happened. I want you to tell me what happened.
That's 26 thoughts. You don't want that one.
That was like, I thought I was a long poster. You like took the cake on those.
Yeah, I had done it like maybe my first half marathon I did it and people liked it, and so I kept doing it for the longer runs. I think one time I joked and did it for like a 5K, and it's like start finish, like nothing, right? But I asked people if they to do that again, and they said yeah, so I did it, and it was 4 posts. It was 4 long posts. It was wild, but people listen. All the likes are like everybody, they listened to it. They read it, so it was really cool. And I'm very scatterbrained when I run too, so it's like you'll get some weird thoughts in there. So you know, we're
Yeah,
here.
I find that if you write a long post, people will actually read it, and that's when they'll comment back to you, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
when
yeah.
you like get your interaction. But what made you pick Glass City Marathon?
Glass City. So in 2000, so in 2019, early like January or so, I decided that I wanted to try to qualify for Boston, the Boston Marathon, and I had put up 21. Boston 2021 was the goal, and I knew that at that point I wasn't anywhere physically like ready to qualify for Boston. I just knew that I didn't die in the last half marathon I did, and if I could train maybe properly or whatever, or keep running, then maybe I could get it down to a decent time. And I knew by the time I tried I was going to be 35 at the time, I think, and my time would have to be 3:05, under 3:05 in the marathon to qualify. So I said, let's go after the free press, start training, and if I could hit 3:15, I'd be happy with that because then that means I could put in 6 months and then go to Glass City 2020. Did the full and at the free press. Then I ran a pretty quick half of 1:24:05 in Atlanta,
So
Hilly,
that is your
Atlanta.
profile. You
Yeah, it
did the
is. Yeah.
Peachtree? No. You did
It did the
Publix.
public, so it was like the day after the Olympic trials. So I got to see all these people that I'm now interviewing, which is weird. I got to see them in person, run by, and like it's just amazing. Next day, I was gassed up, ran 1:24:05, and then I knew like okay, when Glass City comes around in April, like the following month, I was going to be ready. And then COVID happened, or pandemic happened, like pretty much right after the trials, and they shut down Glass City, so I just had to wait. I got a stress fracture in the summer of in July. It really had me. I tried to run a couple times in between. Ended up having me out from July 2020 to November.
Wow.
Started running in November, and then just did this build up. And I knew like, hey, I tried Glass City last year, didn't work out. I got a registration paid for from last year. I had already paid for it, so might as well run. So, and it's supposed to be a flat course too.
Supposed to be?
Yes, it was supposed to, I mean, okay,
Is
like,
it or isn't it?
no, okay, it is mildly flat. But people said pancake flat. And I've had pancakes, pancakes you put in the pan and then you flip them and they're
Yes.
flat on both sides.
Yes.
There's not much texture, whatever to them.
So they done lied to you.
Somebody,
pancake
I
flat.
don't know if Glass City said pancake, but people said pancake, and I'm just wondering if they meant waffles. Just wondering. And
Depends who you ask, though.
yeah, okay, if you live in like the mountains, sure, it's pancake flat, but we're talking about like a marathon course. It's either pancake flat or it's just flat. Just tell me it's flattish, then I wouldn't. But it was a good race, good course. And that's why I picked it, because it was supposed to be flat. But that was where I wanted to qualify for Boston for 2021. Long story already told. That's why I picked it.
So because when I saw y'all training for this race, I was like, let me go and see. Like a month ago, I was like, let me try to register for the half marathon. I wasn't on the full. It's like, let me get Ohio, but it was sold out already.
Yeah, that would have been
So
dope.
was there a guarantee that the race was going to happen this year?
Okay, so it really wasn't until I can't remember what day it was, or like what I actually ended up having the race director on the show like that day. So I don't even know when that was, but they announced that they were going to require a negative COVID test within 72 hours of first interaction. Like, so packet pickup, you had to have taken and received your results, a negative test, or proof of the vaccine by April 10th or 9th, depending on which shots you got, right? So they're obviously not requiring the vaccine, but they required a negative test if you're not going to do that. So the moment they announced that, pretty much everybody knew like this is going to happen, because that's the farthest we had seen a race go to make the race happen. Until that point, it was just going to be, let's just hope that the city doesn't shut them down. I mean, because that weekend they were planning on having 5,000 to 6,000 runners. Like between the 5K, the half marathon had like 2,000, and I think the full was like 1,500 or something like that. So it's very likely that the governor, whoever decides these things, was just going to pull the plug. But when we saw that like Ohio was having, Cleveland was doing baseball games and things like that with people in the stands or stadiums or whatever, and then they pulled this, they brought this part up to the plate, and I'm like, this is going to happen. So it was almost guaranteed from that point on, I think.
Yeah. So your registration was deferred from the previous year.
Yeah.
So I probably never had a chance of getting in anyway, because probably everyone from last year was moved over to this year anyway.
No, like I think there was some spots left somehow, some way. I think either people just asked for their money back at that time, because you could have get your money back last year, so maybe people pulled their money. But I know there were spots available, but then a lot of people took the news of the test requirement or the COVID vaccine. They took that as like this isn't what I signed up for, and people were canceling, and people were like selling their bibs, or people could have like had it recently and just was like, dang, I can't go, I'm gonna sell my bib. I don't know what it is, but people were demanding their money back. It was kind of weird. Like, I'm like, yo, didn't you want to run? But like, we've been waiting for an in-person run all this time, and then if you got to give me a couple hurdles to get over to do it, I'm gonna try my best to get there. And I just went with the negative COVID test, and I was nervous as heck Friday night or Friday in the morning, waiting on this test to come back, and it said negative, and I was ready to go. But it would have been messed up though, like if you tested positive like the day before.
So this is running in 2021, people, because the New York City Marathon, they sent something out as well that if it goes on, the same thing, negative COVID test or proof of vaccine.
When did they send
They
that?
sent the email. I think last week it went out.
Yo. So the thing, like, what I kind of noticed talking to Glass City was because their title sponsor is like Mercy Health, and so they were really close to like doctors' ears, and it was like, if it was safe, they were gonna do it, and for them to take this step to have that done, and assuming there's no like super spreader event because of this thing, then I
Mm-hmm.
think that a lot of races will just take that lead because they cities and races want these things to happen. Like cities like Toledo and some of these big marathons, they depend on this as a huge income.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be like this for sure, and I don't care. Like I'll sure like take the
Mm-hmm.
test. I mean, why not?
But was the marathon, because it was like under 2,000 finishers, right?
Hmm.
Is it always that number, or is it usually way
I think
higher
it's
than that?
no. I think Toledo is a smaller race in general. Like I don't. I think it was a smaller number than normal, but it's never been one of those like big city 20,000 runner things.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been known to be a little smaller, more local. Um, I think that they're being in April. I mean, they don't pull like a big international crowd because international folks are trying to do some of the other April marathons as
Mm-hmm.
well, like Boston and other things like that. So I think they're just a smaller um, race just naturally.
Yeah. See, New York City Marathon, I don't think that's going to happen, 'cause that's like 50,000 people.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know how they're going to. I'm not even thinking about that. We're going to keep that in the back burner for
yeah,
now.
like yeah, start getting irritated. Like I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. So you had a goal to BQ,
Yeah,
and you accomplished that goal by you have a great buffer there, so
yeah,
you're probably guaranteed to get into Boston.
yeah. I hope so. I'd hope so.
So what did your training plan look like? Did you have a trainer, or did you
Hmm.
follow a program? What did you
Yeah,
do?
yeah. So since I started training like technically in 2019, I've been with Luke Humphrey running. They use the Hanson's Marathon method. Luke
Mm-hmm.
Humphrey wrote the book, but my coach in particular is Melissa Johnson White. So she's been a part of the Hanson's Brooks run team professionally for like 20 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I got kind of paired up with her, and it's just been working out really great. And so this training plan I think was like technically my third and a half because I got injured in the middle of the third one. But it's my
Mm-hmm.
third and a half, marathon training block. So by this time, I've really built the base to be able to handle, decent mileage. So this time we kind of pushed it a little bit further, and I was like topping at, 70 miles for a few weeks in a row. And so it was a pretty hefty, it was like a 12-week program, a lot of easy running and a lot of speed work and long runs up to 20 miles. So it was definitely a tough training block, but I felt really good all the way through pretty much. And yeah, so I mean, for people that don't know the Hanson's method, it's very it's higher. It's going to be higher mileage. It's going to be a lot of easy running to make sure that you can withstand or handle that higher mileage without hurting yourself or getting injured.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal. But then also to bring to and you never you don't run at goal pace very often. You're either running faster for shorter distances or running much easier for longer distances to build up that aerobic capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So it is weird lining up sometimes to the race because you've only held this pace for 10, 12 miles or so. So you really do have to trust the fact that you've done the work, that you recovered, that you live a runner's life kind of thing, to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that when you start that line, you think or know that you can finish.
So what did you say, over the 12 weeks you did like 700-800 miles?
Yeah, it was
And you're
like
go ahead.
yeah, it was like 750 or something like that.
And you're like a slim dude. So like what did you eat? What was your nutrition like?
Well, I'm vegan too, and so
Really?
yeah, so we're just gonna be honest here because nobody's listening, right? Um, tons of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for sure. That's like my go-to, like honestly, like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are fire. But I think that being a vegan, I make sure that I do get a well balanced diet and make sure that I do all the extra things to get as much protein as possible
Mm-hmm.
in the times that I need them to make sure that I can recover and all that stuff. But then also, me and carbs are great friends. We talk all the
Mm-hmm.
time,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Me
just
too.
a good relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't like people bad talking them. But and so it's very vegan-esque, I guess. But I eat a lot, like, and I eat probably 4 or 5 times a day if I can.
Mm-hmm.
Not because like I am planning to, it's just because like I just eat, like I just love it. So that's just so the nutrition is kind of easy for me to stay away from stuff that would kind of hold me back. It's usually a very anti-inflammatory type diet. So I think that
Mm-hmm.
also lends or leads itself to being able to run a lot of miles and not be so banged up.
How long have you been vegan?
Been vegan for since like February 2018, so a little over 3 years.
How do you do it? Because I was a vegetarian for like 1.5 years,
I thought she was
right?
gonna say one. I thought she was gonna say one day.
No, 1.5 years. But I guess, they keep changing the terms. Like I used to eat fish. So what
Uh-huh.
is that?
Oh, pescatarian.
Yeah, vegetarian. Okay.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
I got pregnant, and like a month into pregnancy, I said, F this. I'm eating meat. Like I was
yeah,
starving.
yeah.
So, like, what do you eat? Like a lot of tofu? Like, how do you.
Uh, I wouldn't say a lot of tofu, like a lot of grains, beans, just like sweet potatoes, French fries, like vegetables, root vegetables. I mean, pretty much. I mean, people say like, "What do you eat?" Like, I eat everything except
Hmm.
for, like,
No eggs? Like, I can't live without eggs. How do
no,
you
no,
not eat
no.
eggs?
I mean, that's easy. Like, cause I'm not like, so I went vegan because, so like that maybe it kind of helped. Like, so I went vegan because I knew a few people that were, and they were super healthy. They didn't look like the whole, this was 3 years ago, obviously, but they didn't look like the whole like skinny vegan thing, that
Mm-hmm.
just like unhealthy, like the one you're like, I don't want to be like that. But they were like
Mm-hmm.
fit, strong, all that. So I'm like, I think I can try this. My sister-in-law was like, "Yo, let's do like a week of vegetarianism," and I was like, "All right, let's do it." But then I realized two days in or so that I was only eating eggs was the thing that I was like throwing in like stir fries and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'll take that out and just see because I knew people that were vegan. I'm like, I'll just take that out and see if I can figure it out. So I ended up doing that for like 14 days. Then I watched What the Health, but
I never
into
watched
hold on.
that
Oh yeah, yeah. So
because I know it
I
would scare
suggest,
me.
I think that like the reason why the reason why I held on to it so tightly is because I was 14 days vegan at that point, and 3 or 4 days into that, I just felt different. It felt, I felt more sustainable somehow. Like not like in the sense of like, like helping the world, but I just felt like my energy level was just different.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was in the gym and stuff like that, lifting weights and stuff. So everything just worked out, and I was very in tune with my energy levels at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, why am I feeling this great? And I watched that, and I'm like, oh. And they explained like the opposite side, like how you would feel, how I felt pretty much before that point. And I was like, okay, that's enough for me. I get it. I'm good. And I just stayed, vegan for quite some time or till now. But and also just to kind of put that in perspective, like the energy level feel, I stopped drinking in 2017, so I went sober in 2017 January, and the difference between being like drinking every day to not, once you get over that like hump of like wow I feel like crap, you feel like this surge of like new life and energy feel right, and
Mm-hmm.
for me to switch to go just a subtle change of a diet for it to be so much more than the sober versus non-sober feel. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, there's something to this. Like, there's something in our food that we're eating every day that's holding us either back or something. And I'm not saying like everybody, oh, just go vegan, but I just think we just need to, especially like the black community, just needs to be more aware and in tune like with what we're actually eating. Don't just say like, oh, this works out and oh my grandma lived till she was like 90. Like she
On
ate
soul
this and this
food.
and that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I
Mm-hmm.
don't. But
You hear
then
that a
at
lot.
but then at the same time, like let's be honest, like what was that last, what were the last, I don't want my last 30, 40 years to be like some people's last 30, 40 years is like. They may have lived till, but, I want to try to my best to be like at a point where when I'm that age, I can, still move around, do my thing. I want to be like that lady who ran sub 3 hours at 62 years old. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I don't want to be like her. I just want to be still, traveling the world and
Yeah,
laying
yeah,
on beaches
enjoying,
and, doing the damn.
enjoying.
I ain't gonna be running no races at 62, man. Mm-mm.
Yeah, you will. I
Mm-mm.
guarantee it. We'll check back in. We'll check back in. It'll be episode 62,000. You'll be like, yeah. So I just ran a marathon today. Today's my
Oh my
66th
God,
birthday.
no. Mm-mm. So, how did you stay focused over those 3 months? Because it takes like dedication to train for that amount of time and to log the amount of miles that you did.
Well, I mean, I think it was like the, I think it was like the goal. Having the goal of of qualifying for Boston. It's a big goal. And when I started the plan this time around on February 1st, I knew the number that I was shooting for was 250.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that's a scary goal, and I'm very open with my goals too. Like so, I said it out loud quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So it just kind of holds your feet to the fire a little bit more and holds you accountable. And I just was driven by that goal. And then also it just helps that you have the show, and you got a clothing line that revolves around running. So my whole life at that point, other than like day job, um, really just is all geared towards running and around that. So it's pretty easy. And I felt really good though too. Like even though it was Michigan weather in February and all that stuff in March and obviously just snowed a little bit. It wasn't like snow. It was like
Mm-hmm.
flurries. But,
It was snow.
a lot of
I
times
saw
you
it.
got to run
I seen it.
a lot of times you got to run on the treadmill, you know what I'm saying? But I just use that goal as my benchmark and kept me pushing, kept pushing forward. And then also like just to be, full disclosure, I mean, I have alcoholic tendencies, like if either I do it or I don't. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and if I'm not gonna do it, just you might as well just let me exit. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
if I'm gonna say I'm a run, I'm gonna do the show, all the stuff. I'm gonna go like to the point where it's like, okay, dude, chill out.
Mm-hmm.
So that helps a little bit that I'm just kind of built like that.
Let's get into the race.
Okay.
So, the day before the big day,
hmm
what did your day look like?
Day before the big day, was it was kind of cool, kind of chaotic in a way too, because I was we had a lot of content planned, for to make sure that we kind of could document some of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I was supposed to do a show like on the 50-yard line inside the bowl where you finish, and we had a little camera crew situation going on.
I saw that.
Um, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so so like that was cool and weird at the same time. Like I'm pretty sure people probably saw us like, dude, they're gonna win or something because you got camera crews following these guys. They're acting
Mm-hmm.
like the camera crew isn't there. Like it was wild.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very like it was good because I think that I would have been a little bit more overwhelmed with the concept of running the goal the next day. So I kind of kept myself busy. But really, just towards the end of the day, just tried to chill out. Lay your bib out and your packet and all that stuff and take the picture. But it was just
So,
a
the
lot
lay
of.
flat pick. Mm-hmm.
It was a dope lay flat pick, I think. And
Flat
then like
lay. Flat lay, right?
flat lay. Yeah, I don't know.
I did it
But
once. I
it's
said, this is
it's
the one
fun.
time I'm doing this, and that's it.
That's it. No, yeah. I mean, look at
One
all
time
these
I did
all these
it.
me- all these medals you got behind you. It'd be too many. It'd be too much.
Nope. You can
It'd
scroll
be too
my
much.
IG. You'll find one.
I'm just saying, like, who would want to see all those flat lay
Exactly.
pictures?
Because at that point, you would have one like every week, and that's just
It's
too
like, dude,
much.
like I don't care. And then you start saying like, yo, is she gonna change shoes? Um, but
Well, I always wear a different pair of shoes.
hey,
See, I
all
don't
right,
post as much as I used to
yeah,
about running. So
yeah.
yeah, y'all don't get to see all the flavors that
Well, I
encompasses
mean,
my collection.
yeah, maybe once maybe once all this stuff gets more in-person races again, all that stuff. Maybe we'll start seeing the flavor more often.
Maybe,
Maybe.
maybe
But
not.
so the day before was cool. Like we had we were on 313 was there, and we had a bunch of people come to. They were going to be the cheer squad next day, where they kind of post up on different spots in the chorus. but they cooked and had some pasta and stuff like that. So it was dope, and we kind of gathered it for a little bit, talked, laughed, all that, and then we went our separate ways and prepared for the next day.
So race morning, what did
Yeah.
you do?
Race morning. So I went to sleep at like 12 or 12:30. Woke up at 4 because the race started at 6:30.
Wait, why'd you go to bed so late?
I couldn't. I mean, because
You're
you
not
gotta get that.
following the run,
All
eat,
right.
sleep, and repeat.
Yeah, yeah.
What happened?
No, like I think I just didn't plan it out right. So I ended up, getting back to the hotel room at like 10, and then and then Instagram kind of swept me away for a second. And then you doing all this stuff. You talking about, posting pictures, you responding to people and all this other stuff. And then next thing you know, I'm like, I ain't do my flat lay picture, so I gotta arrange that. But yeah, the time flew by, and then I ended up going to sleep at like 12, and didn't sleep very well, but woke up at 4, and then just started the routine. Got up, stretched, all that stuff. Did not stretch my hamstrings though. Weirdest thing ever. Like that's like the go-to, but didn't for some reason. I just got kind of carried away with other things, and then did my normal routine, I guess. Did a shakeout run before with some strides, and met up with the team. And me, Lance, and Joe went to the corral and got into gear.
And Lance and Joe, you guys kind of trained together
Yeah,
through
so
the training
yeah,
cycle.
for sure. They did the Hanson's plan as well. So it wasn't the exact as the one I was on, but it was very structured, pretty much the same, like long runs and things like that, and workouts on different days. But they kind of lined up fairly well, and we were able to kind of hold each other accountable. And so that was fun to have to not. I mean, I was doing it by myself, but long runs and things were always with. Normally we're with them. If we could always make it happen, or maybe even Saturdays or some of our easy runs were, we ran together as well. So that does help too. Like to kind of refer back to that question you asked before, it helps so much to be able to connect with people, like-minded individuals that also like running. And it doesn't always have to be link up for the workout. It's cool to get together and just do some of those easy miles because I mean obviously. Running 6 miles easy or 8 miles, whatever, it may be fairly easy to do, but at the same time, you do it for week in, week out for 6 days a week, it can be pretty taxing mentally. So it's really nice to be able to, link up with people. And that's why it looks good for, 2021 to be able to see some of these cities and states kind of opening up a little bit and allowing people to go back to, some semblance of normalcy or whatever. And it's just been so that was cool to do that. So yeah, we did train together. So we lined up, like knowing that each one of us put in an insane amount of work.
Now, did you have any start line jitters because you told the world what you were doing, right? So you could fail, then you would have to cry about it on Instagram. So were you like I have to do this, I have to get it done? Like what were you feeling when you were getting ready to take off?
No, honestly, like this time, like I was expecting to because I was really nervous for the first marathon I did. I mean, maybe because it was just like I didn't know what 26.2 miles even looked like at that point, even though I trained for it. This time around, I think I had that to lean back on to say like, I've done this before at least. But then at the same time, I had trained for this marathon. This training block was anything that I've ever done, and I hit every workout. I mean, they didn't have, I had maybe 2 bad workouts of it. They were but I finished them. Like there was I was able to lean back on a great base of like, you did this much stuff. Like today's just the day where you only run 26.2. Like, even though it's a long distance, you can lean back on the fact that you put in an insane amount of miles and did a lot of work for this. So I was really just quiet, like I'm not like the hype guy, especially before a race. It's just, I just got super quiet. And then just was ready to go. Like, my wife and son and daughter were right there, and it was really cool to see him. Last time they sent me off to a marathon for some reason. Afterwards, I found out he thought that I was gone forever. I'm like,
Oh
Like, what do you mean?
no.
But so that they were there, and it was just really cool to see them at that moment. I mean, the fact that it was a smaller race kind of helped too, because those bigger races probably get a little crazy, but they were like right
Mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
And our friends were there, all that. So it was like I was cool. I talked to him. I was like, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna be good. I'm coming back, right? And he's like, got you. I mean, he 10, he was 8 then, but he was like, cool, cool. And it was really nice to see them when I took off. So I wasn't too nervous really. I just knew I had put in a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. So walk me through your race.
Okay.
How did it
So
go?
so it started off, and I started off a little like the goal was to start off right on pace. Like I'm not really one of those ones that like can start off slower and ease into it. I just
Mm-hmm.
feel like because then I feel like I would get too anxious and have to try to make up some ground. So I just got out at 6:29. First mile was exactly that. Um, Second mile was a little slower because I was purposely trying to like pull back, and because I've heard many people about this race in particular, slow down in the beginning. It's easy for you to just go, and
Mm-hmm.
then that could have some effect later on. So I just try my best just to stay right there. Did pretty well with that the first couple of miles, but like mile two, I felt like this tightness in my right hamstring, and it was the same issue that I had at the end of my first marathon. Like but the first marathon it was really bad towards the end, but I was able to finish. So I felt it in the second mile, just like some tightness, and I'm like, this is not good. Like I can't have to worry about this,
Is that
for
from
the
not
rest of.
stretching?
I think it was, but like mile five, I realized like, bro, you didn't even stretch this. Like it took me a while to figure out like what was happening,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, and I started thinking like, did I have any issues like before, like in the training block? Did I do on any of my tempos when I was running this pace the other day? Did I have an issue? Like, nope, nope, nope. And all of a sudden, it was like, bro, you didn't reach them. You didn't do nothing this morning. I did
Mm-hmm.
everything else. I did
Mm-hmm.
stuff that morning that I never did before. I
Mm-hmm.
did like twists and all these things that I seen on Instagram, but I ain't stretch my hamstrings at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it was so like at mile five, I realized that, and I was like, so for a second, I was like, should I just pull over, and then
Should
like
you
just
pull
stretch it out,
over?
pull over. I
You
mean, because
can't
at
pull
that
over in
point,
a BQ
yeah, I know, and
attempt.
and at that point, at 3 or 4 miles in, Lance and I had ended up, people talk, so like, you start talking to people, and you're like, what's your goal? What's your goal? And we end up having like a pack of 6 or 7 of us, that were aiming at 250 as their finish time. So by that time, like by the time I decided maybe to pull over or not, we with like 8 people, like
Mm-hmm.
going and just locking in. And I'm like, you just gotta rock with it and just get as much water as you can and just keep the pressure. But it was very mentally taxing at that point, like to have something like that and know how bad it hurt the first time it happened,
Mm-hmm.
to be dealing with that from basically 20, I mean from mile 2 until like 18 or 19.
Ooh.
So, and it never hurt. Like, just to be clear, I mean, it didn't hurt. It was just one of those things where it's like, this is gonna be a cramp. And
Yeah.
so I changed my stride a little bit and tried not to like do too much, like push off and kick or whatever in the back. But it worked out. Like in I just stayed in there, and the miles, like the splits were very consistent. And I think at one point, like because we had the cheer squad out there, so it was like random little hype moments, and then like the camera crew was on the course too. So every
Mm-hmm.
time we'd see a camera, we kind of sped up just a tad. It's just
I
natural.
saw that. I
See
peeped that.
see a camera, you go a little faster. But
Mm-hmm.
at one point, Lance just kind of started peeling off, and I'm like, all right, like, and I knew that because of this leg thing, I'm like, I can't try to cover that at all because I just need to stay here and see how long I can, last because I don't want to ruin a day at, mile 16.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually because, Lance is like a gifted athlete. Like he just started taking off. So I'm like, just let him go, do his thing. Wish him luck. He good. So I just stayed there for quite a bit. And that's when I kind of got into this dark spot because like I started thinking of all these things, like not like what if I don't do it, but it's like this is like it sucked, it was tough, the course wasn't flat like they said. um like I don't know how much longer I can keep at this pace, and you're just in this dark tunnel, it seems like, and you're thinking these negative thoughts. And I just all I kept saying was like, yo, just you train for this. You didn't train for this marathon to be easy, because there's no marathon that's easy. You know, like for those people that's like, yo, like I train, why is this 5K this hard, or why is this half marathon this hard? We don't train for it to be easy. We just train for us to get the time that we want, and to PR and to all that stuff, you know. It gets easier, you know, like I wouldn't have been able to do the time that I just put up on Sunday. I wouldn't have been able to do that a year ago, but it still is just as hard as the first one. You know, it's probably harder this time for me than it was the first marathon, you know. So I kept leaning on that, like, yo, you train for this. You train for it to be hard, but you train for yourself to be able to keep going when times got tough. So I just kept going, stayed the course, you know. And at mile like 20, this lady, she had been either before us or behind us at some point in the like this pack, you know. She never was with us though. She looked like she was definitely a loner type of lady. But she was holding the pace strong or whatever. And at one point we got past her, and at mile 20 and a half, she just started, like, she just surged, like she just went past us. I heard somebody yell, "Let her through on the left," you know, like, I'm like, all right, fine, because we was in a little trail area. And she went past, and somehow I found myself running with her for a second. And I'm like, okay, well, she's moving pretty quick. It's mile 21 almost, and this is the time when you're supposed to go a little faster anyway.
Is that the lady you passed on Instagram? There was a video.
The lady I was running with?
I saw you, like, you were with a lady, and it looked like you ran past her a little bit.
Yeah, well, so, yeah, I was past her on the turn, you know? Like,
you passed her for the camera, didn't you?
No. I mean, that by the time... No, we ran together from like 21 to like 20, from like 21 to 26, like solid, you know. And it was really cool because, you know, I later come to find out she won a couple marathons in Texas. She's from Austin, you know, so she's like very, very strong runner. So it was really cool to find out that afterwards. But I just kind of locked in with her. You know, it was a really straight shot, you know, going in for like basically 5 miles, just running on a straight road. So I just locked in with her, and we passed somebody, and they said, "Hey, you're the 7th female runner." So I'm like, okay, that's, you know, thinking about her, I'm like, that's dope. Let me just stick with her, and maybe I can help her just keep going at this pace or whatever. And then we got down to like the last 4 miles, we were at like 6:15, 6:16, something like that, 6:17. And so I just stayed there with her, and a couple times I wanted to, if she wasn't there, I think I might have just backed off and just finished, because I still would have BQ'd or whatever. But I'm like, just stay with her and see what happens. And then like on mile 25 and a half, one of the dudes that was there, Knox Robinson, like they didn't expect to see us or see me at that point, because I think they were happened to be right there. And then he screams out yo, Tommie, this is your day, reach out and take it. And I'm like, and I was already amped up because it was 25 and a half, and I just kind of hit the gas a little bit and finished out strong. And, you know, saw the cheer squad. That's when you saw that video, and I turned that corner, saw the cheer squad, tried my best not to cry, because I knew at that point that I was about to PR by a lot. I was about to at least hit the time I was looking for. And then the cheer squad's right there, and it just felt really supported. And that's one thing about We Run 313 is, like, it was 30 of us there, and maybe like 7 of us ran, you know what I'm saying, or 8. And it was just dope to know that people would get in their cars and spend the night in Toledo just to come outside in the cold at 6 in the morning to cheer us on, you know. So that meant a lot. But the crazy part is the whole course I didn't see my family. Like, I'm like, okay, every crowd I'm looking, like, see if I can't see a kid or nothing, you know? And then, but I'm like, okay, well, hopefully they're at the end. And I turned the corner, and they were right there screaming, and it was just a dope moment. They couldn't be at the finish line because it was like in a stadium thing, so you had to go up in the stadium and finish on like 30-yard line or whatever. But that's like the recap of the race in short, because a lot of crazy stuff happened in between.
So how did you feel when you, like, crossed the finish line? Because you knew at that point you had to know that, well, you had your watch on, so I saw you stopping your watch.
Yeah.
You saw that time.
Yeah. I got made fun of for stopping my watch like that. Like, they're like, man, you are no fun,
But the guy
bro.
next to you was doing the same thing.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about my friends, because you got a picture like a Lance, he coming in, like, with his arms spread wide, screaming, Joe coming through in a great pose, and I'm like, you know, let me fix his watch, you know. But like, so the whole thing, like the whole time, I had my watch in lap pace, so you can't see the elapsed overall time. So I took it out of lap pace at like 25 and a half miles. So that's when I knew, like, as long as I don't fall or die, I'm gonna like literally, I'm gonna come in under 250. Like, this is gonna happen today. And so when I turned the corner into the stadium, you could see the clock, and I saw 248 something, and I'm like, don't let this turn to 249. Like, it was like the weirdest thing. You did all this stuff just to get to 250, and then you see 248, and then my first thought was, don't let this turn to 249. You know, like, as if like that was a goal. But that's the thought. I just wanted to continue to push and break that barrier in my mind, and it felt really great crossing the finish line. All this was done for like to qualify for Boston. Didn't think about Boston at all at the end. For like, it took me a few minutes to like register, like, oh dang, like we just qualified for Boston. You know what I'm saying? And I just, that's when it hit, like, this is a dope day. And Lance qualified too. Joe PR'd by an insane amount. Like his official marathon was like 4 hours and like 30 something. He ran 3:06.
Wow.
You know, so it was just a really good day all around. And I think the thoughts were like, at that moment, I knew all these miles and time away from family and all that. It's worth it, because at least they can look at it and say, like, yo, my dad like worked hard, picked a goal that like most people that look like me maybe wouldn't pick, you know, or from here wouldn't really pick. So I picked that goal, and then I did a lot of work to get there. It wasn't like it just happened, you know. Like, they saw me leave out. They see it's snowing. I still leave. You know, they see me come back, fingers numb, complaining about the cold. You know, they see all that. Where's Dad? Oh, he went for a run. You know, they see me come back after 16, 18, 20 miles runs, you know. So hopefully that translates to them as maybe not being a runner, but, I pick a goal, and don't just have a dream or whatever, because dreams kind of like those are cool, but pick a goal and find out the way to get there, you know, because even if things haven't been done before, you know, in your knowledge, I mean, there's not many things in this world that just haven't been done. So there's a structure somewhere for you to follow, you know, or at least know where the first step is. And the first step for me for that was just to find a plan that I could train under that would help, you know, give me the best chances. Yeah. And so my daughter, she wants to go travel Paris and be an artist. There's framework for that, you know. It starts with your 8th grade butt getting good grades, you know, because you gotta go to a college that suits you, that you get to pick, because community colleges, they art programs don't really be slapping like that, you know.
Nope.
So it's just like, hey, pick a goal that's scary. Don't be afraid to say it either, you know, because I could have just said I want to qualify for Boston. I didn't have to say 250. I could have said 3 hours, and that would have been fine. But, you know, pick a crazy goal and go after it and do some work.
So for your age group, what's the qualifying time?
3:05, because I'm old.
So you ain't old.
I mean, I'm just saying. I feel old because like Joe and Lance are so much younger, like not so much, but they're younger than me, and their qualifying time is 3 hours. So mine's 3:05.
You don't look old though.
That's the goal.
And you're not old, for the record, because I'm probably older than you.
Well, we don't have to discuss this.
I'm 39. I will be 40 years old in
August.
Mm-hmm.
I swore that you was gonna say younger than me, and I was gonna be happy about it. No, that's dope. That's dope.
Mm-hmm.
That's dope. Yeah. So keep eating what you're eating, because we need you at 90 years old running marathons.
Yeah, I need to turn vegan, because I eat okay, but you know, as you get older, when you're a woman, you know, the pounds come on, and you got to work hard to stay in shape and try to keep them off. You live with a woman, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you just gotta keep pushing. I mean, it's just really, it's really cool to see. I just love seeing, like, you know, more and more of us, men and women, are out doing this thing, you know. And like that, I was talking to my sister. She's like, yeah, I'm going for a jog. I'm gonna stop calling it jogging after what you did on Sunday. I mean, I'm gonna stop calling it running after what you did on Sunday. Like, no, you a runner. Like, you run. That's what it is. You know, if you go outside and you walk, jog a couple times a week, or you jog the whole time, or you run, whatever it is, if you step out them houses, lace up them shoes,
Mm-hmm.
you run, you belong in this community. It ain't just them people that don't look like us that that been doing this forever for some reason. It's not just them. We part of this community too.
And you know what? I was just on another runner's podcast, and I call those people who think that, people that walk, run, or jog, run
Oh yeah,
snobs.
run
Because
snobs. Yeah,
that's what they are.
yeah,
We may not be as fast as the next person, but
yeah.
stepping out the door is the first step. And everyone should be commended for making that first
Absolutely.
step because most people are not doing it, especially people that look like us.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it is shame on whoever it is, and shame on them, especially if they look like us and they like tooting their nose up or whatever to somebody trying to get into it, or just their goal is just to run one 5K or whatever it is, because that's what I mean. Other people was doing that to us for too long. Why would we do it to each other? You know,
You know?
there's a reason why when you go to a race, it's the only black people I see is the ones
You
I
could
know.
count. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not true for every race in every city, but it's predominantly one race, and it's not us. And we need to. There's so much out here. Like running is so transformative. Um, it's such a keystone habit. Like I've seen people start running and decide to go vegan or vegetarian because they just want to feel better and they want to run faster and they want to be out there with us or whoever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just one of those things. It's like alcohol was it for me, and then it led to running. I took alcohol away, and then I ended up getting into running.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen people treat running the same way, and it just absolutely changes their lives. And shame on whoever it is saying that, like to say that we not runners or something, because they started somewhere too, you know.
And people forget where they started,
Yep.
unfortunately. So what's
Yep.
next for you? You got your BQ. You're
Yeah.
running old
So
fat. You always ran fast. You just run faster. So
faster. Yeah.
what's next for you? What's on your
Uh,
schedule?
the goal is to just get back in the lab, keep working, do like some shorter races this summer, like switch the training plan a bit to make it, not so much about the marathon. Um, run some fast as possible, 5Ks and 10Ks, stuff like that. Do like a faster half, like in half marathon in the fall, and then after that, start training for Boston.
Wait, so if Boston happens in October,
Hmm.
you'd be doing Boston in April 22?
Yeah, because so the one in October is the delayed COVID
Mm-hmm.
version of the one that's supposed to happen like a couple weeks ago. For
Mm-hmm.
Patriots Day, and the cutoff for that coincidentally was the 23rd. We raced on the 25th.
Man.
So we just but I like it. I think it'll be better that way. It'll allow me some time and to train, get faster because I want to go to Boston and I want to PR again. People say
Boston
just
is
go
not
next.
easy.
No, no, no. And the cool thing, I mean, I lived in Boston for like 6, 7 years, and that's why I wanted to go back there and run
Mm-hmm.
that race because I know how important it is to the community. I know how hard it is to run that race. I know the history and all that stuff. So it was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. So I'm very aware that that's a tough course, and that's why I want to get back in the lab, start training and working on different things to make me just a stronger runner for that moment. Because I mean, I know people say like go to Boston and enjoy the experience or whatever, but like I said, um, this whole
You want to
my
go to Boston and
personality,
kill it,
yeah, my
right?
personality doesn't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
We're just gonna go all the way, and that'll be fun to me. And I rather hit Heartbreak Hill and just not finish because I went so hard and tried to, than go for the first time and like just enjoy it. Maybe I'll go back another time and then just jog it out.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to go hard there and finish strong and have a great day.
Mm.
So the plan is just to get back in the lab and keep going.
Well, Boston is great and all, but I'm gonna need you to add the New York City Marathon to your list
Yeah, I think that
because
that's
that's the best
that's
marathon in the world. I'm
in
just
the
saying,
world. Is in the world.
in the world.
in the world. Okay.
Boston ain't got nothing on New York City.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna repeat that out loud because I need to. Well, yeah, no, I definitely want to run. My bad. I definitely want to run all of them. Like, I want to run all the major, marathons. I think that's really cool. And to be able to kind of, what is it like? Is it 7 or
Six.
8? 6?
Six.
Which is, I don't know where I'm going. I'm like, is it 7? Is it
They're
10?
they're scouting a seventh actually, so I
Where
hope
would it
that I
be?
get my six before they add the seventh.
Yeah, you better hurry up, man. Which one are you missing?
Man,
Berlin?
I have Berlin. I'm missing London, Tokyo, Boston.
So you already did New York, and now Boston seems to be more important on the list now. I'm just saying.
Now Boston, I'm not fast, so I'll have to fundraise. So Boston is
Yeah, yeah.
last on my list. It's like the least of my concerns is Boston. Tokyo is like the hard one to get into
Is it?
now.
Why is
Yeah.
it? Was it? Is it a lottery or what?
They have a lottery which barely anyone gets into, and they
Yeah.
have something where you can pay money,
Mm.
like to get a spot, but they go so quick now that,
Oh, yeah.
and their charity, like you can raise money for charity and
Hmm.
still not get in,
Oh
which is
wow.
crazy. Yeah.
I was like,
So
yo, like that seems to be a
yeah,
little,
like you raise all this
yo,
money and you don't get a spot. So
oh,
yeah, I
yo,
don't
can I
know what
get,
I'm
can I
gonna do
get that?
about Tokyo. Like I should have did Tokyo years ago before it got popular, because I would have just
Yeah,
paid that money and got in. But
yeah,
now it's like so popular, it's just gonna be.
yeah.
I'm gonna have
And
to
I
change
think
my goal.
the cool part about the running with the time I did, as long as I apply for some of these within the right time frame, like
You
I
can get
won't
in
have
on
to worry about the
time.
lottery. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good part of it. But yeah, I think that it would be really nice to travel and do those things and run the big marathons. Absolutely, run New York, obviously, because it's so legendary. And then we'll figure it out from there.
Yeah, the 313 boys, bring your talents over to the Big Apple.
Oh
So
yeah,
so we can
yeah.
show you what a real marathon course looks like.
Okay,
Run over these
okay.
5 bridges.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've seen it on TV. I've watched it. I think I mean, no, it's definitely would be super dope to do. And yeah, say less. We there.
Well, your invitation is open. Maybe, if you want to get in, your girl could hook y'all up and help y'all into the race.
All right, all right. Yeah, I know, I knew, and I know that you connected over there. You a big deal. That's why I
Okay.
said I told you before. Um, when you used to ask me what my thoughts were when I crossed the finish line, and I had a few thoughts. One of them was like, while I was stopping, I looked at my time or whatever on my watch. I'm like, dog, I'm about to be on the runway for sure. Like that's, I was like, dog, this is runway time right
Oh
here.
my God, you did not.
I think I'm
Well,
on.
I had two of the fastest black men on Instagram, Ronald
Uh huh.
Joseph
Yeah.
and Philip King.
Uh huh.
You know Philip King?
No, I don't know Philip King, but I know Ronald Joseph though.
Look up P King Duck on Instagram. The dude is like, whew, he's fast.
Peking duck. Okay, I'm
Yeah,
on it. I'm
that's my
on it.
boy. And you know Ronald Joseph.
Yeah, yeah,
Ronald
yeah.
Joseph was the first guest on the Runway
Oh,
podcast.
was he?
Mm-hmm.
That's dope. That's
Yeah,
dope. Yeah,
yeah.
like he hit me up the other day because he saw what we did when we posted. He was like, "All right, brothers, y'all got to keep pushing. Let me know if
Mm-hmm.
y'all need anything. We need more of us out there." And it's just like you just, yeah. That if we could somehow just change the narrative or continue to push that and just get more of us out there running and it's not even like it's got to be like a race thing like we got it's just we just know that running is such a huge help to so many people, and it just
Mm-hmm.
starts good things and there's good people in it. Like, yeah, the Joe was talking about, he had some at one of the points where he didn't hit a wall, but he had some tough times. One of the guys he was running with was like so hyped, like, you can do it, really getting into it. And this community is full of such great people. Like, other than the run snobs, there's so many great, nice people, and the fact that we all lined up to go run a stupid 26.2 miles brings us
Mm-hmm.
together, and we're all supportive. You meet so many different people, like, like I'm sure like tons of your Instagram followers right now you've run with or met somehow,
Mm-hmm.
through running. And it's just such a nice community, and we just need to get more of us into it. And it's not just a white sport, it's not just a white thing, like
Not
we
anymore.
got
It's not.
now we got legs and feet too. you know?
And you know what? We're in this whole social movement right now.
Hmm.
You know, these racing directors, these racing companies, these shoe brands, they're looking toward us,
Yeah.
to not, I don't like really promoting certain brands, but,
Hmm.
they're giving us a spotlight on, their pages, and they're putting us out there, which is, it's a good thing to get the word out about the sport to others.
Hmm.
But yeah, I've just seen like such an evolution. Like I started in 2012,
Hmm.
and we didn't have
Yeah.
Instagram. There was Instagram, but we weren't posting on Instagram. We had Facebook
Mm.
back then, and it's just things
Mm.
have changed so much and evolved. To even for me, like I
Yeah.
never would have thought today that I would have a podcast,
Yeah.
or
Right.
I would run the world. It was when I started day one, that was never in my mind of
Yeah.
what running would take me. So yeah, it's been a wild ride, and I'm glad to see you guys coming up. I feel like a veteran now,
Look at
but I'm
you. I
not.
just like to
But
see y'all
that's what it
young
feels
bucks, y'all
like.
young bucks coming up.
And I like to see new runners coming on the scene, because it get, scrolling on the gram gets boring. And when I get to
Yeah.
follow new people like you guys and see what you're doing, it makes me to, it gets me excited to keep running, because
That's dope.
I'm skating now. I haven't even run in like over a week because I
Yeah.
picked up
We need you
skating.
back.
But
We need you back out there.
you know,
Wheel skating's dangerous.
it is. But talking to you has motivated me to run tomorrow, not today. Tomorrow I'm gonna
Okay.
run.
Yeah. 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 Don't go crazy. You know.
Not today.
Yeah. But yeah. Like I just think that just the more of us out there, the merrier. You know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just and I like the brands are rocking with us. You know. And even if it's good for business. I was listening to Salema on I can't remember his last name at the moment, but he was on the Referral podcast, and he was saying even if it's just good for business at the moment to rock with like black folks,
Mm-hmm.
sure, as long as we're prepared to utilize that opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
and do something with it, and not just be like the representation for representation's sake. So that's what I'm seeing and what I'm trying to do with anybody that I'm working with at the moment is to make sure that I use that as a platform to continue to grow into whatever way that we see fit. But representation definitely matters, and I'm liking that it's I'm starting to relate to more of that representation.
And
So
listen, I'm gonna need you. Don't be doing these posts for free, okay? We need to be
mm-mm.
getting paid for our
Yeah,
representation, okay? We
yeah,
not Don't be giving it away.
yeah, yeah.
They got the money, so the free kicks are nice and everything, but
Oh yeah.
show me
Yeah, I
money.
mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, because like that's like and I think that like just being new in this space and trying to make it work is, you know, you see what other people are doing and getting, like free
Mm-hmm.
shoes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just being new in the space, you're like, yo, that's dope. Yes, send it along. Uh, but you don't know what these other people, have behind the scenes, and they could just be getting the same thing you're getting, but you don't know. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you just have to learn to figure out like, okay, well, if there is no money, at this moment for this thing or for whatever it is, make sure, like I was saying, make sure that you're able to take whatever this relationship is or means or however it's shaped, make sure that we're able to, move something forward in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just a, grab a couple, like 2, 3 followers or something like that, and you get to they, and then they sell 20 shoes. But it's like make sure that whatever it is that you maximize that opportunity because it's a lot of opportunity right now to work with a lot of these brands. So it's like you got to just be aware that like while this thing is happening, even if it's for the wrong reason on their part, make sure it works for you
Mm-hmm.
and make it do what it do. Because that's one thing about black folks, we will make it do what it do for sure. And
Hello.
as long as we use it now more than ever, because it's not just running. It's, so many industries are tapping in, because of
Mm-hmm.
what's been transpiring, and the world seems to kind of be waking up a little bit to some of the things that have been happening that are just way out of pocket and out of line. Um, so it's like whatever industry you're in, make sure that you use this opportunity to promote growth in your family, your community, and all that. And that's my thing right now.
And on that note,
Yeah, I'm
I
over
would
here
like
rambling.
to thank Tommie Runz for being
Yeah.
on the Runwave podcast. Let everyone know where they can find you on socials.
Okay, on socials, you can find me on. I'm not sure how you can find me on Athlinks. You gotta let them know that. I think it's Thomas Bailey.
Yeah, we're not going to put
Yeah,
that
we gotta
link up
say
until you change that picture and update your results.
I'm so embarrassed by that. I'm going right there, like right now. On Instagram, you can follow me at Tommie Runz. It's TOMMIE_Runz with a Z. Tommie_Runz. And then also you could check out the other Instagram. It's at Chip Time Running on Instagram. So everything starts there. Just check the Instagrams out, Tommie Runz and Chip Time Running. And if you have any questions on how to get anywhere else, I'll help you.
And pick you up some gear from Chip Time Running. You know,
Yeah,
this cute
chiptimerunning.com. Yeah.
Runtrepreneur shirt is
We didn't even
from
talk about the
Tommie.
Runtrepreneur. That's another thing about the running community. Is so many entrepreneurs in the run community. So I made the word Runtrepreneur.
I'm going to go take a picture. My photographer just got home, my son. So
He said, "What? Hey, homie, help me out, bro."
so I'm gonna take a picture in my Runtrepreneur and
Please
post
do.
it on the gram.
I'm about to have you sign this waiver because I'm using you on the. Yo, what up?
Okay, goodbye.
He like, let me get in there. Yeah, I'm gonna make you sign this waiver because I'm gonna use that picture on my Instagram pages.
I'll tag you. You can feel free to use my picture. We have to
Hey,
support.
I'm
If we don't
on
support
now.
each other, who else will?
I don't know. That's when you support that. You throw that emoji in. The guy's like, I don't know. There
Right?
you go.
All right. So thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
I hope you enjoyed listening to Tommie tell us his incredible story about running the Glass City Marathon and getting that coveted Boston qualifying time and then some. So we should be seeing him in the Boston Marathon next year, April 2022. I am so looking forward to seeing him crush that course as well. So I want to thank you again for tuning into the Runwave podcast, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Later. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Be sure to subscribe to The Runwave on your favorite podcast app and leave us a review of the show on Apple Podcasts. It would really help me out. If you are a runner that has a story to tell and you would like to be on the show, you can email hello@therunwave.com or send us a DM on Instagram to The Runwave. See you next time.